Hey guys, okay, so we are live on Facebook. I'm 2 minutes later than I usually would be, but hey ho, at least we are rocking and rolling and don't have too many issues today, which is lovely. So, for those that don't know what we're doing and who I am, my name is Adil Amarsi. Welcome to Think Like a Copywriter, of course, run by copywriter.com, and of course, my personal favorite of all time. We are also sponsored by Copy Critiques, the copywritingcritiques.com. So, that being said, let's jump on today. Today is quite special to me because it is talking about something that very few people really, not few people, but a lot of people understand, but haven't really put in the insane amount of work that goes to in order to actually really figure it out, which is, kind of strange and weird, but also fun because, you get that. Now, obviously, I'm going to edit. Hey, Bogdan, good to see you there. Now, obviously, I am going to edit the site title to this so it has the actual number for you guys, which is episode 18. I am just going to share this now onto my public profile as well. So we have that already on both pages ready to go. Now, that being said, hey man, good to see you. That being said, let's rock and roll this bad boy as we do per usual. So today's episode, as I said, we're going to go into funnel stuff, which is always interesting and fun. So here we go. Funnels are quite interesting because they actually essentially it's about getting people from one thing to the next, to the next, to the next. That's basically what a funnel is. A funnel is getting someone to go from I don't know who you are to I kind of know who you are to I kind of trust you to here's my information to here's my money to here's more of my money and holy crap, you're amazing. Let me keep giving you money. That is essentially long and short of what a funnel's function is. Now, as I mentioned, today's episode, we are going to go into the heavy psychological stuff around funnels and why they work, why the majority of funnels are kind of stupid and how to fix them, what funnel copy is and how you need to actually get good at it, and essentially what you got to know about it, pricing strategy in your funnel because there is a way to do that quite well, and more. And of course, we had some questions as well that I wanted to answer. So if you have any questions and you're watching this live, comment below. I'll answer them for you as soon as possible. If you're watching this on replay, hashtag replay underneath with your question, and I'll go ahead and get back to you as soon as possible. Now, as I said, we're going to be going through this for about another 25 minutes. So here we go. Let's dive right into the heavy duty, psychologically heavy stuff that we do. Now, Bogdan, as well as a few other people, have actually seen me go into psychology, know that I'm a bit of a loon for it. I very much love psychology. I freaking love it. It's one of my favorite things in the world to look at and study. So when it comes down to the psychology of funnels, essentially, as I said, getting someone from start to finish, like buying from you, getting to know you, getting like know, like, and trust you, and ultimately be close to you. As you guys can hear, Captain Chase is actually awake and saying hello to the world. So let's get right into it. So the heavy duty psychology behind the funnels itself is essentially making sure that someone has a reason to keep buying. The problem is there's a lot of stuff that gets taught out there around it. So it's like, hey, if you have a product, hey Hossein, good to have you there. Hey Byron, good to see you. Um, if you have a funnel where someone is actually buying from you, or just getting into an opt-in or getting to know you, like you, and trust you, but you're inconsistent with what you're sharing, your funnel will fail. The whole point of a funnel is for it to be a reason to why they should spend more money and get to know you more. So, for instance, I'll give you a perfect example with free and then to paid. So, if it's free, why would anyone watch the show? Well, the reason anyone would watch the show is they want to get better at copywriting. They want to understand better at understanding marketing. They want to get better at all the other things that make them money. They want to get better. Okay, if that is the premise I have, then the funnel I need to build has to answer certain questions. And those questions come from research. Once I've done my research, I know exactly what my audience wants. I go ahead and create the content. Now, for me, this actual content, hey, Amira, good to see you. Now, this content in particular was created simply because I got asked about it. And I was like, holy crap, this would be a great piece of work to do. And I think it would be absolutely valuable. So I went out, surveyed, figured some stuff out, and came back with what we have today. So my point is to get you from here to buying something from me. I'm going to give you as much information as possible that gives you the idea of what I do, give you some tactics and strategies as well as some like structural like belief systems around why this works and what you need to do to make it work. Once you've understood that and actually completely, and you've essentially kind of bought into me, got an idea of who I am, what I do, and how I show up, the next step is to get you onto my mailing list. Now, if I give you a bunch of cool free stuff and say, hey, by the way, guys, go head on over to adilamarcy.com, thinklikeacopywriter.com, or any of the other domains that we use, there's a high chance you will after you watch a video, simply because you've consumed content. You feel like, okay, if I want more, I can get more. You end up going opted in. Great, we've gone opt-in. Now the next step is basically building in that next level of funnel, which is emails. Now we teach this on the thinklikeacopywriter.com/the-challenge, which is no longer live, but we're currently putting together the website to make sure that you guys can get access to it whenever. It's $97, totally worth it. Bogdan's an actual student, and he can give you a glowing testimonial because he knows exactly how crazy we went in those things. Anyway, so if my actual purpose is to get you through the emails, my emails are meant to build up more of a trust factor, more of a likability factor, more of a truth factor. So I'm basically giving you content that answers your problem. I'm giving you stories that basically illustrate how we answer your problem. And then I'm giving you the advanced knowledge that you don't even know this is going to be a problem like 3 steps down the road. Let me show you how to deal with that problem before it even becomes an issue or even touches your radar. So that's the kind of stuff. So you become like a super consultant in some cases, and you essentially start to really not understand, but realize what you could do for your audience and give them something that is actionable and usable. I'm really hungry, so I'm gonna have a little bit of food. Anyway, off the back end of that, you have people going ahead and know, like, and trust you. They get to build out the funnel and know exactly what it is. Your next steps from there are to give them a reason to click links. So for instance, if your emails are really good and you say, hey, go check out this thing, go check out my offer, it's $100, it's $1,000, it's $100,000. If it's to the right person, they'll buy it. But you need to give them enough reasons. You need to give them a reason to why things happen. I'm glad that you actually said that. It's a reason to get in. It's a reason to actually understand why people would actually do what they do. It's giving them enough reasons why to click links, to go and read your stuff, to go buy from you, to actually understand what you stand for, and really open up the door to let them know who you are. Because if they know you as a person, they're more likely to like you. If they like you, then they trust you. If they trust you, they're more likely to buy from you. It's universal escalation. Now, what I mean by that is that when you're doing this for free, like say, for instance, I started out talking about copywriting, and my second episode that I ever did, the second post you ever saw from me, was around dog breeding. It would be a huge disconnect, or underwater basket weaving, huge disconnect. So if the next piece of content has to be related to the first, which it is in this case because it's following people in, you now have copywriting, funnels, works, then you have something else. Hey, Claire, good to see you on that. Then you have something else, and you keep building one thing after the other that basically funnels people along to the point of opt-in. And then once they opt in, it's continuation of that initial idea. How do I write copy? How do I build my business? How do I actually get to that level? How do I train my dog? How do I train my cat? How do I write emails specifically? How do I write Facebook ads? How do I love myself? How do I get to know myself? How do I, whatever it is, whatever that thing is that you're teaching, sharing, selling, get people educated along the free stuff, get them to opt in for even more free stuff, and educate them further in that. But keep it consistent. Now, when you go to the paid side of things where you're buying stuff, your first offer has to make sense to what you've been offering. So the challenge that I created, that completely works as an offering because it's all about emails. So if my whole thing is about email writing, copywriting, business, understanding your customer, and I show you how to do that with your welcome sequence, like a perfect welcome sequence, you're more likely to actually pick up and go with it. Now, if you have that as a belief, as a starting point of like, hey, guess what? Belief systems are completely true here. People want to buy stuff, and I sell you, and the first thing I sell you has nothing to do with that. Well, that's the disconnect. But if I sell you something to do with that, and then the next product up, and I've seen this a million times, people will offer the most ridiculous things that don't have anything to do with the upsell. So if the whole thing is around copywriting, so I'll give you my funnel I did for the Think Like a Copywriter challenge. I did, let me help you write your welcome sequence. Then it's, let me show you how I do my research and how I write 500 words to 1,000 words in 30 minutes, which again, a lot of the stuff still needs to be edited and put online, but the upsells, that is. And then the upsell to that was like, revive your dead list. And then it was 7 types of emails that will always convert. And it was a pre-launch because I hadn't created it yet. And I'm halfway through like editing, so it'll be all live and stuff. But that price is going to be like $495. Anyway, at the time it was $97. But I made it so that my list was 97, 27 bump, 47 upsell, 97 backend. And the reason I did it this way was quite simple. Every offer made sense, but it made sense at the price point. I'm teaching you the most amazing thing that you can do, which is a welcome sequence. $97, totally undercharged, by the way. Like, people were wondering why I charge so little. There is a reason. People yelled at me for not having a low end offer. Now I have one that's absolutely brilliant. The second thing that we have is that we go into research. Well, I do know people need research and they have writer's block. Well, this is how you overcome writer's block, and this is how you write quickly. That's a perfect validating bump, because if you're really good at writing emails and I give you all the information, your next question is going to be like, how do I write quickly? How do I get through these things? Well, let me show you how to do that. Great, 27, done. Next thing, okay, but I have a mailing list. They really haven't revived with me, or my client has a mailing list and they haven't really vibed with me in a while. How do I do it? Well, I went ahead and did this. So I created an email sequence that's basically around this triangle that goes forward and helps people revive dead lists. That's done. Now, do you see how, like, okay, so I know how to create a welcome list, but now I need to revive my dead list. I know how to write quickly. Okay, but I need to keep my content fresh. How do I keep my content fresh? Well, if you keep your content fresh, you use different types of emails. If you use different types of emails, you now have fresh content delivered to your, you can actually switch it out every day of the week with a different type of email. You can write ahead of time. There's a bunch of stuff that you can do. And that's really, really powerful. Like, very few people really look at it at that level where they see it as, okay, crap, I can go ahead and do these incredible things, get them done. I can put this stuff out there. People love it. And all in all, like, from start to finish, that is a complete funnel in the way that it builds. The psychology behind it on the pricing specifically is I've made sure that it's incrementally either more expensive or cheaper. It makes sense to actually go through. And there is a reason behind why this one was done this way. But if you're doing your own stuff, you can charge more, and that works too. But the whole aspect of it is essentially you want to look at how you build up, how you go through the different things, and why people buy. Same with your bonuses. Your bonuses have to knock you on. Like, if there's a no, the bonuses are there to knock you onto a maybe. If they're a maybe, the bonuses are to knock them onto a yes. If they're a yes, this is to basically give them a hell yes and confirmation. Your upsells are like ideas added on to what your initial product cannot answer because it's way too much. So this is just for the people that's like, hey, you want to take this to advanced mode? Here's advanced and intermediate levels, go. This is beginner, advanced, intermediate, like intermediate, advanced. You can do it in that way if you want. Now, the reason why the majority of funnels are kind of stupid is because they actually don't do that. They don't follow a set plan. They kind of go, okay, buy this thing, and then we're going to throw this thing, and then this thing. It kind of kills off a lot of your sales. Or worse off, they actually charge an astronomical amount of money and don't give you a real value number. So I'll give you an example. Anything I create as an upsell will eventually become its own product. Reason being, people would want that as their own product because it solves problems and you can move things around, see what works. But because of that, I make sure all my stuff is in line and is priced accordingly. It's not like a $500 program that isn't worth $500, or at least $5,000 in my books. It has to be worth the actual move. It has to be worth making me buy and spend money. A lot of people don't do that. They kind of like overload you with bonuses that don't really do the thing that you need. And then they sell you on everything that you think you need, but you never get around to actually using it, which is a huge problem. And then you end up feeling resentful, and then you move on and you get this whole thing. A really good funnel is all about basically answering the question, helping someone get to the next level. If you can do that, you have someone's money for life. They will actually spend all their money with you because they know, like, and trust you, but more importantly, you delivered a result. And that is key. So funnel copy itself, that I mentioned, is essentially creating a narrative. So if you're thinking of a sales letter basically speaks a story and then ends with you buying it. An upsell is all about like, hey, by the way, if you hadn't already, go buy this. But the way that you tell that story and elongate it through a funnel, like a sales letter through the funnel thing, is you teach the first thing and then you do the story for the next part. So it's like, hey, I've told you who I am, how I got here, what I do, how I showed up, blah, 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 blah. By the way, thank you for buying from me. Here's something else you can pick up from me completely for this other price if you want to. And this is how it enhances and helps you. And this is how I came to that discovery. A downsell is like, hey, I totally get it. That's not right for you right now. But listen, these particular things are very essential to take you to the next level. So if you want to take just the basic product and run with it, cool. If you want to go a little bit above, but not all the way through because you don't have the funds or something else is getting in the way, then basically get this level here and you should be ready to go. So an upsell, like a funnel copy, is basically all about creating different pieces that keep continuing to tell that same story that you started off with and take it further down until they've actually bought more of your stuff. Like if they buy everything that's in the funnel, like even your high $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 program, that story basically comes off of you bought everything else. Now you're at this time. Let me show you how you came to this realization and how I can speed up your product results and so on and so forth. It's a brilliant way of doing it. It's a mechanism that works brilliantly. Pricing strategy, however, is quite interesting because pricing strategy comes all along from this idea of basically how do I make money on the front end? And essentially my whole rule to that is whatever you sell, it has to be at least 5 to 10 times the value. So when I teach my copywriting class at the copywritersroom.com, that has at least a 10 times X value on it, because I know when you do use it, you will make a crap load of money. When you don't use it, you won't. If you do use it, it always works. You know, it goes ahead and works when you see in testimonials like that. My actual welcome sequence thing, could I charge $500 for it? Of course I could. Why did I put it at 97? Because I wanted people to get access to it and actually feel like they can go through this. It's actually a very, very, very powerful training. And that's the reason why we did it at the price point we did. But all my upsells, especially because it wasn't a live funnel when I went through it, all the products are still being created. The reason I set them at lower prices is because my audience would actually appreciate that, and everyone yells at me for not having anything low end. So it solves a problem. If you're someone else that's not got that problem, what you want to do is actually sell your stuff, and you're like, how do I figure out the price? Well, keep this in mind. Whatever price point you set at, that is the price point your customers are going to be looking at everything else at that same price point and going, are they any good? And I learned this years ago from my friend Dion, who learned it from someone else. So if you charge a $97 report, everyone's going to be looking, who else charges $97 report in the same industry? How does this compare? How does it stack up? What's their story? How do we go from this to the other? And there's a bunch of different ways of doing it. Whereas if you intentionally say, look, this is $97 and this is the reason why, and then your next thing up is a lot higher or a lot lower, and you justify it properly and correctly, people will buy it from you. The whole truth is it's in the justification and understanding of why the price exists. You need to tell them why. You can pluck a number out your ass if you wanted. You really could. Frank Kern did it a couple of times. He goes the rectal extraction method or some bullshit like that. Basically, it was a number generator. But for me, the way I look at it is the value I say is that if someone buys something from me, can they make that money back within 90 days? Whatever that money number is. If they can make that money back in 90 days, I've done a good job and I'm happy with it. If they can't make that money back in 90 days and it's not in a year, then, you know, I don't feel right, which is why a lot of my programs, if they do have guarantees, they're usually a year-long guarantee. Some of my programs don't, but, you know, that's because we're still working on some stuff around to make sure that we can work it through. And we're very, very forward about why we don't have a guarantee. Speaking of guarantees, because this is effective in funnels, some of your products will have a guarantee, some of them won't. And the way that you get around this is that you don't always have to offer a guarantee, but you can offer an explanation to why there isn't a guarantee. So it could be like, the reason I'm not giving you a guarantee for this is because I'm teaching this class live. And that's the reason it's so cheap, is because I'm actually teaching this to make sure that you guys get the best of it so that I can resell it further down the line. Or you can say the reason there isn't a guarantee in this is because I've had so many people go ahead and buy my products and get massive results out of it. And I want you to have the same thing. And I only take on people that are 100% certain. If you're not 100% certain that my product isn't for you. Ramit Sethi did this. If you ever if you bought any of his courses on a credit card, he'd refund you and cancel your subscription, tell you like, hey, wait until you get some more money and then come back in. Don't use it on your credit card. It's a very, very simple way of doing it. And it's an integral thing, by the way, because I know some people out there be like, go get a loan and then buy this thing and then we'll show you make money. No. If you don't have the money, don't put yourself in debt to buy something. Figure it out. Reach out to the person. I'm sure you'll find